Oh, yeah. What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Getting Buzzed. Special episode here of Getting Buzzed. Why? Because NFL Week 1. It starts today. So I've foregone the usual, let's have a guest on here. Let's play some games. Let's have some fun. Let's learn a few things that may or may not have to do with football. Today is 100% totally focused on football, fantasy football, betting football, confidence pools, survivor pools, all of that stuff there, all rolled up right here for all of you. You are my guests today. Get those questions in the chat room. I will be doing as many questions as I can possibly get. If you guys don't have the questions, I got plenty to talk about, right? But I would much rather sit here and help you guys. I've got all my lineups already set. Yes, I'm still waiting on Travis Kelce, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. But before we get to some of the top news that's going on around here, before we get to your questions in the chat, and I already see everybody in the chat. Look at that. Jack Senzen's here, Tim C., Chris Joel Smith, and Dunn. What's up, Rowdy? Icy Through You is here. Buzz from Skinny McKinney. What's up, buddy? And yeah, the Better Boss is here. Britt Flynn is here as well. So listen, we've got everything going on. And like I said, I'm just going to do this as an AMA. So whatever you guys want to know, I'm going to give you the answers to. As these questions pile up or whatever, I've got other stuff that I can kind of throw around here. Number one, first and foremost, Jack Sensen wants to know how the shows were. Listen, I'm back from vacation 100%. I almost don't even feel like I took a vacation. The fish shows were amazing. Had an absolute fantastic time. Came back on late Monday. Woke up bright and early, 3 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, and it has been nonstop NFL ever since that. Between updates to the cheat sheet, between updates to rankings, to making sure that everything is set and squared away. We've got all that content over there at fantasyalarm.com. So no matter what you do, whether it's just fantasy, whether you're looking for best bets, I'll have that article up tomorrow. But I mean, if you're looking for action tonight, Dan Malin's got that showdown slate right up for tonight's Chiefs-Lions game. I've got my confidence pool picks in order sitting there on the website as well. Kevin Tompkins handled the Survivor article. So we've got everything all nice and loaded up for you. fantasyalarm.com. Now, I'll say this. If you don't have a subscription to fantasyalarm.com, you're missing out. We are absolutely set to crush it this season. 100% crushing it this season. I've heard numerous people talk to me about the cheat sheet, how well it's helped them in drafts. And listen, I've done it all through myself. I had an FFPC draft last night, and I threw it down there picking from the wheel. Very, very happy with the way my draft went. Very, very happy with that. So we got all of that. And unfortunately, the FFPC doesn't give me draft grades. What am I going to do without a draft grade? What are you guys doing with draft grades? Stop. Let me tell you something about draft grades. And including if you did a draft on rtsports.com and then you click the Fantasy Alarm link to see what the draft grades are. Draft grades are nothing but clickbait. They're nothing but clickbait. They're nothing but going to get you aggravated about what's going on. I don't care if you got a D+ on your Yahoo draft last night. I don't care if you got an A+ on your Yahoo draft last night. I don't care what CBS Sportsline said. Draft grades don't mean anything. They don't mean anything because what are they doing? They're basing it off of what? Their stat projections, their algorithms, numbers of what people produced last year, all of that stuff there. It's useless. 100% useless. Does it make you feel good if you get an A+? Yeah, but what does that get you? Nothing. 250 in a subway, 250 in that gets you a subway ride in New York City. That's about it. All right, so don't worry about the draft grades because what I'm sick and tired of seeing, in all honesty, I'm sick and tired of seeing stupid trades being made based on the fact that Yahoo gave you a C- on your draft. Trust in the process. Trust in your pool. If you drafted Bijan Robinson in the first round, chances are is that your draft grade not going to be all that great unless, of course, you took the top player at the queue in every subsequent pick. Why? Because Bijan Robinson's a rookie, and their algorithms have no idea what he's going to do. They're guessing what his volume is going to be. They're guessing how he's going to react to NFL competition, things like that. So stop with the draft grades. Don't blow up your team. Don't do any of that stuff. Trust in the draft that you had. All right. Are there players in small leagues, in 10-team leagues, in 8-team leagues? Maybe there's a guy sitting on the waiver wire. Yeah. Okay. Maybe somebody missed him. But unless you're dealing with like a massive injury or your guy suddenly gets cut, like why did you take somebody in the 13th round as opposed to leaving him undrafted? Because you think that there's upside there. You think there's potential there. So why are you already going to swap him out before we've even played a game? Don't do it. So trust in what you did. Enjoy the fact that you had a great draft. Go roster bait for a little while. Just go back, sit there, and just be like, oh, yeah, I can't believe I just made those were my first 3 picks. Oh, God, that was so good. Right? Do that. Enjoy what you did, and then let's see how the chips fall when we go through the rest of the NFL season here. All right, look, I'm looking at some massive numbers of questions here and going through the chat. So, I mean, let's just get right to it. As promised to you, 100% AMA. Let's see. Oh, Britt Flint says, is Marshawn Lattimore playing so I can go off about Treylon Burks? Just go off about Treylon Burks. I'm not worried about Lattimore. Lattimore's not the guy that he used to be. When Lattimore first came into the league, yeah, absolutely. The only reason that Marshawn Lattimore really gets any kind of, steam from anybody is when he's facing the Bucs and when he's facing Mike Evans, because we know a fight's going to break out of some sort. But I'm not going to sit there and worry about it. I'll happily start Treylon Burks no matter who's covering him. Chris Joel Smith says Najee Harris or Aaron Jones, half-point PPR. You know what? I'm kind of leaning Aaron Jones in this one. I love Najee, and I think that Najee is in a great spot. And I would probably start him under normal circumstances. But when you're looking at the matchup here, I don't like Chicago's defense. Chicago struggled against the run last year. They didn't really do anything to improve on their defensive line. And I still think that they made a huge mistake getting rid of Roquan Smith. I think that's going to affect certain things. So this is Matt LaFleur's system in Green Bay in its purest form. You don't have Aaron Rodgers changing the play at the front line anymore, at the line of scrimmage. He's not, in there. Jordan Love's going to have some autonomy, but the play called is 9 times out of 10. I'm sure the play that's called is the play that's going to be run because, this is what LaFleur wants, and he loves a nice little run-first attack, and we all love Aaron Jones. So I like Aaron Jones in this matchup, for sure. Let me just pull up that schedule and just make sure that I am 100% accurate with my answers here. Fatty McFad says, Howard, are you just saying my name or are you screaming a widespread panic song? Let's see. I already answered Jack about the shows. Tim C says, start one, Isaiah Likely or Michael Mayer or Dawson Knox. It's a good question there. I'm going to lean Isaiah Likely. I don't really know exactly what this quad issue is for Mark Andrews. He put in a limited practice yesterday. I'm going to watch him over the next couple of days, but Isaiah Likely's still going to be involved. Todd Monken has utilized 2 tight end sets in his air raid offense, especially when he's got 2 pass catching tight ends, Likely and Andrews. So he's got that bevy of receivers. The whole thing about the air raid offense and what they're really trying to do is they're trying to be able to scatter receiving targets out in the defensive secondary and spread that defense out, spread it across the field horizontally, not just in a vertical aspect. So you're going to see, sets where you're going to have 2 tight ends with 2 receivers and they all go. You're going to see 3 receiver sets. You're going to see a lot of 4 receiver sets. You're going to see Isaiah Likely possibly line up in the slot as well, or Mark Andrews will line up in the slot while they do something like that. So I mean, you've got enough options here to make that happen. So with the quad injury, I might as well take a look at Isaiah Likely. I'm not sure what to expect yet from Michael Mayer. I'm not sure what his snap count's going to be. They do have Austin Hooper there, and Austin Hooper's got that experience. I like Mayer as like a late round draft target. And I've picked him up, and he's more of like a wait-and-see type guy. Dawson Knox, I know that he's got the rapport with Josh Allen, But I really feel like with the draft capital spent on Dalton Kincaid, I think the Bills really want to keep him heavily involved. And yes, he'll work the slot while Dawson Knox lines up there. But again, I think that what we're looking at here is we're going to see a lot of Stephon Diggs. We're going to see some Dalton Kincaid. We'll probably see some Gabe Davis. We'll see what happens the rest of the way there. So Isaiah Likely for me. Chris wants to know season long as far as what? Oh, Najee and just stick with Najee, baby. I love him. I think this Pittsburgh offensive line got a lot better with Broderick Jones and with what they did in the offseason. I think it's very underrated, not to mention the fact Mike Tomlin loves just having one running back. And he said that. Matt Canada wants to do a bunch of pre-snap motion and change some personnel packages to confuse the defense, but this is still Mike Tomlin's team, and if he wants to ride Najee, he's going to ride Najee. So for me, a slight edge season long, Najee over Aaron Jones, especially because you've got A.J. Dillon in there, and you know that in some short yardage situations, we'll see a little bit more Dillon than we did last year, primarily because Jones is Aaron Rodgers' guy. Dillon wasn't. IC3 says Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, or Rachaad White for DraftKings. I'm actually going to lean Miles Sanders here. Miles Sanders is the bell cow back. I don't know what Tampa Bay is really going to do this week against Seattle. I'm not really Minnesota. I mean, I know that Minnesota's defense is a little on the soft side, but I'm not going to sit here. Tampa's offensive line, brutal, absolutely brutal. They lost Ryan Jensen for the duration of the season. He might have a career-threatening injury. The line was banged up as it was. It was solid on the left side. It was weak on the right. So I'm not really a fan here of this Tampa offensive line. Early on in the preseason, I was in on Rachaad White because I know Dave Canales wants to do a run-first scheme like he did in Seattle when he was working under Pete Carroll. But if there's no blocking on the offensive line and Tampa Bay is supposed to be as bad as they are, how much are they really going to run that football? Maybe he does it like Lovie Smith did last year and just ran Dameon Pierce no matter what. But I just don't see that happening here with this team. I mean, maybe if Tampa Bay was playing New Orleans, then I'd be like, yeah, you know what? New Orleans has no defensive line, and Rachaad White could get some work there. But no, not against Minnesota. Miles Sanders, he's going to be my guy for this week. He's been my guy. He's been Coop's guy. I do like Atlanta's defense. I think it is vastly improved with what they did in the offseason, but you got to take that pressure off of Bryce Young, and by doing so, you're going to get Miles Sanders more heavily involved. I want to see some checkdowns. We all saw that video early on in the preseason where they started talking about, was it Deuce Staley, the running backs coach, talking about when he and Sanders were working together in Philadelphia, how Sanders caught so many passes, and they want him to take that kind of a role in Carolina as well. So give me all of that. Let's see. AMA, what? Yes. AMA. That's what. Better boss. Need one and a tight end premium from Ann Dunn. Battle of the rookies or the old guy. Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta, or Hunter Henry. I'm actually going to go with Sam Laporta here. I think there's going to be it's a very interesting situation with tonight's game, and we can talk about tonight's game in a little bit more detail also. I took the prop, 29.5 yards, receiving yards for Sam Laporta. I took it higher over on Underdog, and I took it, the over on DraftKings Sportsbook as well. No Chris Jones, no Charles Omenihu on the defensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs defensive line has kind of turned into a little bit of a mess here, especially with Jones out. So if they're gonna try to play against the run with Gibbs and Montgomery coming at them, the linebackers are really gonna have to help in there. If you can release a tight end like Sam Laporta, let him do a block and release, do a little play action, you can probably dump it off to him because the linebackers are gonna bite. The linebackers are definitely going to bite. So I can see Dan Campbell doing that, running heavily, and then all of a sudden throw a little play action there, a little dump off to Sam Laporta, let him pick up 14, 15 yards at a clip. I definitely think that that's possible. So I'm leaning on that more than I am like Hunter Henry. And as much as I do like Dalton Kincaid, and I do think that he will get some receiving work. I'm gonna put my eggs into the Laporta basket this week. Oh yeah, that is a Jets shirt. It's a Jets sweatshirt and a Jets hat. I told you I was drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, you can't see through the gray here, but there's like a faint green mustache. Y'all remember when I lost that bet last year? Had to dye my hair green. I almost did that again just for today. I might do it for Sunday. There we go. Brian Burns, shout out to my producer throwing that down there. Yeah, we love our Jets this year. Monday Night Football is going to be an absolute blast. And listen, I haven't been this excited about a Jets starting season since 1999. And we all kind of know what happened there. They lost the AFC Championship game in 98. And they came back and they were, one of the favorites to win the AFC in 99. And then Vinny Testaverde ruptured his Achilles in like the first series of their first home game. And it was very sad. It was very depressing. But now I've got the Hard Knocks hype. I got me some Sauce Gardner. I got me some Garrett Wilson. And I got me a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, who, if you guys have caught the show that Lisa Ann and I do, it's Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Better every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Lisa Ann and I have been talking about the fact that you can't trust what the media is saying about people. You really can't trust it. And I've never dogged Aaron Rodgers for the fact that, he doesn't talk to his family, because you know what? I don't talk to mine either. Does that make me the asshole? No, it doesn't make me the asshole. If you knew my parents, you knew my family, you'd know who the asshole was. So, I'm not going to judge Aaron Rodgers on that. Does he come off as abrupt and cantankerous in the media sometimes? Yeah, but you know what? You still keep getting asked the same stupid stuff over and over again. It's going to wear on you. It's definitely going to wear on you. So, maybe he doesn't, he hasn't been portrayed in the best of light, but I mean, listen, I'm going by what I'm hearing from beat writers, what I'm hearing from personnel inside the Jets locker room, everything like that. And a lot is lined up for a nice little, I don't know, I would say a personality turnaround for Aaron Rodgers, right? Darkness retreat, maybe that like helped him out. Maybe it was the ayahuasca. I don't know. Either way, he's growing on me, as are my New York Jets. Better Boss says, who was the first fantasy football player you remember drafting? So, all right. The first fantasy football player, and I'll just go with like realistic fantasy football. Not like, I like screwed around a little bit in high school. We played like a style of fantasy game. But it was in the late 90s when the internet boosted everything up for fantasy sports. And I got my wife involved in fantasy as well. A buddy of ours, we played poker in the same rotating poker game in New York City. And a buddy of ours came and said, his dad was starting up this fantasy baseball league. Do you want to do it? Blah, blah, blah. We were like, yeah, absolutely. My wife was the only woman who sat at that poker table. And we basically said to her, you can join the fantasy baseball league, or potentially feel left out of the conversations that we have at the poker table, because we're going to all be talking trade and talking baseball. So she joined. And then that obviously spilled into a fantasy football league, and she wanted to share the team with me. So the first player that I really remember drafting, I let her, was Terrell Davis. Like, that was our first round pick that year. I think it was 97 or 98. Terrell Davis was our first player that we grabbed in the first round. The first notable player that we differed on, that she wanted, that I didn't care about, whatever. Believe it or not, Drew Bledsoe. We had Drew Bledsoe as our QB, and well, we all know what happened to Drew Bledsoe.
Hey, everybody! An old man's talking.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, I am talking. But come on, everybody out there knows from Drew Bledsoe, you went to Tom Brady. We didn't, but we ended up with Bledsoe as our starting quarterback. So Terrell Davis for me, Drew Bledsoe, I'll say, for the wife. Fatty McFat says Doug Flutie when he was a Charger. That was your first pickup? That's not bad. That's not bad. Did you have a box of Flutie Flakes with you? Andrew Cooper says, if you don't have a subscription to Fantasy Alarm, you're an idiot. I mean, I don't want a name call, but he's right. He's 100% right. Because not only do you get it, I mean, go to fantasyalarm.com/win. It's all the DFS, it's all the NFL seasonal, it's access to all of us in our Discord. I mean, it's all over the place for us here. So we're pot committed to this NFL season. We're absolutely going to crush it. So you can finish off the MLB season. You can jump into NBA DFS, NHL DFS, next year's fantasy baseball. If you go to fantasyalarm.com/win, you take a 7-day free trial. Take a look at what we're doing for DFS this weekend here, and sample the goods. Then come back, subscribe to us. You won't be disappointed. So I like that, Coop. And LT when he was a rookie, yes, Fatty McFats, I did that as well. LT in his rookie season, I got him. We were able to franchise. It was an auction. We were able to franchise the player and freeze his salary for good. I mean, I still paid up for him in his rookie season, but I franchised that dude for a very, very long time. Face. RB2 question. Dameon Pierce against Baltimore or Najee Harris against San Francisco? No, don't switch. Stick with Najee Harris. They came out and they said that Dameon Pierce was going to be sharing that workload with Devin Singletary. And here's the thing. Houston going up against the Ravens. Ravens are a fearsome defense. There's no doubt about that. I don't want to start. Not only do I not want to start Dameon Pierce against the Ravens team, but when you think about it, last year, Devin Singletary was one of the, I think he was like number 6 overall among running backs in pass blocking. Dameon Pierce was 151st. Think about that. Think about running backs rankings for pass blocking and think about how low you have to go to be 150 something in the NFL. That means that like a guy like Raheem Blackshear from the Panthers is a better pass blocker than Dameon Pierce. So what happens when the Ravens go up? What happens when the Houston Texans are in catch-up mode? They're going to need to pass the ball. And do you want a good pass blocker on the field for you for that? Yeah, you do. So Devin Singletary could see a lot more snaps in that second half. So that's something you have to worry about. Najee's just going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy whether they're winning or they're losing. It's not like they're going to turn around. They're going to be like, oh, no, we'll go with Jaylen Warren in the second half because San Francisco's winning this game. It's not going to happen. So give me Najee. IC3 says the FA family is the best. We are the best. We are. Like, bottom line here. I mean, listen, I don't want to talk bad about any of the other companies out there, but I know this team. I know this crew. I know the dedication. I know everything that we've got between this show, Alarm Fantasy Football, our MLB DFS shows. Head on over to Better Sports Network and just look at the array of stuff that we have going on over there, which also it reminds me, I want to hit you guys up. So if you're watching the game tonight, all right, we've got our brand new BetterCast app, and that's out. All right, BETTORCAST. Brian, if we can get maybe a scroll on the bottom with BETTORCAST.app. You go to that website, that's going to download the app for free, and then you can play along. All right, so you're going to play in real time. You can rack up points by answering questions. We got all these prop questions for tonight's game. So, it's real simple. It's over, it's under. Who's going to score the next touchdown? Is the next play going to be a run or a pass? All of these things we've incorporated into this absolutely fantastic game. And so when you answer the questions correctly, you win tickets. You can take home authentic sports gear, signed collectibles. So again, just download the free BetterCast app and play tonight during the Lions-Chiefs game. We're going to be playing throughout the entire time. Thursday nights, Sunday nights, and Monday nights. I'll be able to play during the week. During the entire Sunday football. I'm watching too many games at the same time, but I can focus on those night games. So just go ahead and play with me right here. BetterCast.app. Download that app for free, play along, win some prizes. You got to love it, man. You absolutely have to love it. All right. How many auctions did you do this year, Howard? Sadly, I can say that I've only done 3 auctions this season. I love a good auction. Absolutely love a good auction. Only 3. The publicized one, most publicized one was at the Fantasy Football Expo. But I did that one. I did the Huddle, which is I don't know if you depends on how old my audience is here. You know, it used to be the KFFL, which was associated with USA Today. So it's like those old school guys. I had that league passed down to me from Jeff Erickson at RotoWire a long, long time ago. We're talking like 15 years ago. That was, yeah. There's that ticker at the bottom. You're gonna love that one, people. Absolutely love that. And so so I love me some auctions. Have a great time doing it. Only 3 out of 20 odd season long leagues. Lots. Let's see. Oh, am I missing? There we go. Britt says she got a D plus on certain sites. Yeah, I don't care about the D plus. That's all good. Thomas Lund's got an F from Yahoo. They said he'll finish 0-14. Thomas, you stick with the family here this year. I can guarantee you ain't finishing 0-14. I'm sorry. You know when they say you can't win them all, can't lose them all either. There's no way you're going 0-14. And yeah, I mean, listen, again, not trusting draft grades, not trusting somebody's algorithm. Hot trash. Ann Dunn says she's a Kelsey owner. Me too. And she's got to get a tight end. Drop Bigsby or Sean Tucker. I'm dropping Sean Tucker. On this show here on Getting Buzzed a few episodes ago, so a couple of weeks ago, I had Mike Dempsey on the show. Mike Dempsey, you know him from the Football Diehards. You know him from Sirius XM. He also hosts a local Jaguars show in Jacksonville. And over on that show, he interviews the players, the coaches, everything like that. When I asked him about the backfield for Jacksonville this year, and this is probably going to bum out a lot of you ETN owners. Travis Etienne had 5 touchdowns last year? Only one of them came inside the green zone. Only one. That green zone inside the 10. And so that's actually a very telling point. And when he started talking about what the potential split could be in the backfield, what the Jaguars want to do, what Doug Peterson likes to do with rotating some running backs, is that Tank Bigsby is much more, a short yardage guy. And so for any of you old people out there, if you remember Fred Taylor used to do some amazing work between the tackles, right? And then all of a sudden, between the 20s, and then all of a sudden Fred Taylor would get down to like the 2 or the 3 yard line. And what would they do? They would pull him out and they would throw Stacey Mack in. And Stacey Mack ended up vulturing so many touchdowns. It's kind of like what everybody's afraid Zeke is going to do in New England. Be afraid of that happening to Travis Etienne with Tank Bigsby. I think it's something that you definitely need to pay attention to. So I'd be dropping Sean Tucker instead of Tank Bigsby. Justin Walker says, guys, if it's like last year, you need to ask the questions in the QA live stream channel. You know what, Justin? You can ask the questions in the QA live stream channel, but what you really want to do is just come over to the YouTube page, Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. All right, I've put it in all the links in the on my Twitter feed. If you guys follow me, at RotoBuzz, guys, just had a little bug flying in my ear. What was that all about? Trying to get in on me. Scratch. But yeah, Justin, you can ask your questions on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page also, and they will jump in here to the restream. Coop says if Yahoo gives you an A+, then you messed up, probably. Nailed it, Coop, definitely. So no questions here. And ask questions. What do you mean? No, don't ask questions. Of course you can ask questions. Here we go. Thomas Lund says Mostert, Breece Hall, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, a running back, and a flex play. Well, I'll tell you what, because Dalvin Cook, word out of Dalvin Cook, out of Jets camp, is Dalvin Cook is 100% ready to go. And while Breece Hall is also ready to go, and the two of them are going to share that workload, I'm kind of tilting more towards Raheem Mostert. Now, yes, I know Devin Achane is healthy and off the injury report. Salvon Ahmed, his back issue is not bothering him anymore. So we'll see what happens there. But I like Mostert in this matchup. The Chargers did a horrible job against the run last year. And I know that Mike McDaniel is going to want to try and expose that a little bit more. So I'm going to go with Mostert here. And then you know what? I'm going with Cortland Sutton. I've been in on Cortland Sutton all offseason long. I've told you, Joe Lombardi's offensive system funnels targets to the X receiver. I'm hearing that Jerry Jeudy might actually be available to play, which to me would be absolutely phenomenal because that's at least going to help draw some coverage away from Sutton. But you watch. I mean, I can go back to talking about Marquez Colston in New Orleans, Michael Thomas in New Orleans, Mike Williams with the Chargers the last 2 seasons. Look at what the the target share was. Sorry, I'm like trying to keep an eye out over here on the chat. I'm trying to, make sure that I keep that train of thought, which sometimes is still boarding at the station. I'm not going to lie. Either way, give me Cortland Sutton. He's going to get targets. You look at the target share for any X receiver in a Joe Lombardi system, and it's delicious. It is absolutely delicious. Let's see. Somebody got a D in Yahoo. It's based on ADP. It could be based on ADP. I don't know. Let's see. But if Lattimore covers Hopkins, it's Paulson Adebo covering Burks. Yum, yum, yum. Again, yeah, I think that this Saints defense is really not that good. Really not that good. So I'm okay with talking about the Tennessee Titans here.
Yum, 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 yum.
Ann Dunn says she needs one from these: Rashee Rice, Devin Achane, Quentin Johnson, Chiga Okonkwo. Why are these? I need to know, Ann. Why are these your options here in week 1? These are not options that you should have in week 1. These are I don't understand. You're gonna have to explain yourself in the chat to me here. I will if I'm gonna pick a name here. I'll probably take Chiga Okonkwo, against the Saints. And I think that, he's going to be on the field. He's a strong pass catching tight end. Rashee Rice, they already said that Justin Ross and Rashee Rice are going to be package receivers, which means there are very specific packages that the Chiefs are going to run where those guys will be on the field. So it's obviously not a full snap count. And then you have to wonder, are they going to be the targeted receiver in that package? So I will avoid that for now until Rashee Rice proves himself a little bit more. In Scott Fishbowl, Dulcich or Jake Ferguson? I'm going to go with Dulcich here. I know that he's listed as the second tight end on the Denver Broncos depth chart, but that's Adam Troutman, who, is very familiar with the system that Sean Payton runs and that Joe Lombardi runs in Denver. They did it. He was with them in New Orleans. He's much more of a blocking tight end. He is not a pass catcher. Dulcich, I think, will end up being, a little bit more in that joker role. And I think he'll end up getting better targets. So that's where I'm going there. Dustin Ludke says Monken has 3, Andrews likely and Charlie Kohler. Yes, he does. I'm not ready to commit to Charlie, though. Definitely not. Justin Walker asks, Jahan Dotson or Rachaad White in the flex? Give me Dotson. I'll take him. I think Arizona's defense is terrible. Not impressed with their secondary at any, in any stretch of the imagination. Dotson's a nice deep threat. Sam Howell, we're looking at Washington. Everybody's taking Washington for their first week of Survivor. You're going to need Dotson to score, especially when we're sitting here with Terry McLaurin and his turf toe, and we're wondering if he's even remotely going to come back. Just for today, for this week, that is. So give me Dotson against over Rachaad White, because Rachaad White's offensive line is terrible, and I could definitely see Tampa Bay getting game flowed, their running game being game flowed out. Let's see. Ann in Scott Fishbowl 13. She needs 2 of these. Maybe she should ask Britt. Oh, you know what? Fine. You want to ask Britt? I'll skip over this, and you can ask Britt when we do Alarm Fantasy Football. That's coming up in about 30 minutes. Do you really want me not to answer this one, Ann? McKinnon, Zeke, Burks, Paris, or Chig also have 2 kickers, McPherson, and Treylon Burks and Treylon Burks. Oh, you need 2 of them? All right, so Burks, and then I'd probably go Zeke. I'd go Zeke and just hope that he gets that short yardage work that everybody's talking about. Brian Burns says that he's got Brian Burns, my producer, asking questions now here. He's got both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in one of his leagues. Can he play both tonight? I mean, it depends on who you're starting him over, but yeah, I think you can. I really think you can. I love David Montgomery tonight. I really do. I've got him in a DFS lineup for Showdown. Lisa Ann does a DFS contest for on DraftKings. You can go and check out her Twitter handle at the real Lisa Ann. She's probably got it posted over there. I'm not sure if that contest is filled, but I put David Montgomery in there as well. I think there's good stuff coming up here for Montgomery for sure. There's way too much Jets garb on my screen. Bills win 31-24. If you weren't such a nice guy, Dustin, and I met you at the expo, I'd be flipping you off right now. You know what? There's not enough Jets gear. I'll go and I'll put on a t-shirt too underneath if you want. I can do that. I can definitely do that. Hiya, sellers. How are you? Ann loves my Jets sweatshirt. Thank you very much. Chris Joel Smith says, thanks, you're welcome. I will try to keep up the great work. Seller says, you like Komet or Laporta this week? I like Laporta this week. I actually took the under on Cole Komet's props for receiving yards at 25.5. I think they're really going to try and focus on utilizing DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney. I think we could see Komet get some red zone work. I could see him possibly even getting into the end zone, but I don't see a heavy yardage total for him here. I think the Lions are going to need Sam Laporta to step up, in this passing attack, especially if, let's say it does go back and forth. The over-under on this game is 53. I'm leaning on the under, but I'll say this: if it does go back and forth a little bit, and the Lions are going to have to pass, they're going to need Sam Laporta to really step up and do a great job here. I thank Mo Lewis every day too. Look at you in there. Who is that? Robert Bickerstaff. Thank you, Robert Bickerstaff. Mo Lewis. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Victor O'Mela says 1 point PPR. Need one wide receiver from Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, or Michael Thomas. Jefferson is your other starter. Look at these first world problems for you here. Give me Keenan Allen. Kellen Moore loves to have the pass thrown. He loves having Justin Herbert. He loves having those targets. And you know that Keenan Allen is a security blanket for Justin Herbert. So I am in on that. Mike Evans or Mike Williams? Mike Williams. I'm going to take him on that front there as well. I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy. I'm not a Tampa Bay guy. I think with the offensive line struggles, they're going to really need to rely on a quick, short releases. That's going to favor Godwin over Evans, in my opinion, especially in a PPR format. So I'll go with Mike Williams over here. Fatty McFats, lifetime alarm member, and that's why we love you. Good morning, Mr. Scampers. Raheem Blackshear is a sweet boy. He didn't deserve that shit. Come on, I'm just what? Scampers, you're so sensitive. You're so sensitive. Where's Dame Overboard? Get Dame Overboard in here, and she can kind of just soothe you.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Should I go Montgomery or Brian Robinson at the flex? Big Country 3000 wants to know. Yeah, I'll go Montgomery over Brian Robinson. I mean, I think that Robinson's due for a really solid game, especially with the fact that it's going up against Arizona, and Riverboat Ron will be more than happy to tell Bieniemy to just run the clock out in the second half, and that'll probably be a lot of Robinson. But I'm telling you, David Montgomery with no Charles Omenihu, no Chris Jones on that defensive line for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to have a really tough time stuffing the run, especially if Dan Campbell runs hard at them and throws down like that. Going to the BML auction in Tahoe. Nice. I love Tahoe. Oh, Tahoe. Full point PPR, Najee, Mike Williams, J.K. Dobbins need 2. Give me Najee. Give me Mike Williams. Not interested in J.K. Dobbins just yet. I mean, I'm really worried about what happens with the running game for the Ravens. I'm not saying that Dobbins is going to be terrible, but I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to predict what these guys do, what these running backs do, because you also still have Gus Edwards involved there. And we all know Lamar loves to run on his own. O-Face says Scary Terry with his cartoon toe or Michael Pittman with unproven arm at QB. You're going to have to kind of wait and see on the Scary Terry situation there, but I'm going to take Michael Pittman here. He is the number one receiver. We saw that, during the preseason. And granted, it was just preseason games, but he was the guy who commanded the most attention from Anthony Richardson. So that's where I'm going. Thank you, Ann Dunn. I love the compliment there. Let's see. Oh, I got to rate my team from MG Jim HK. Let's see. Ooh, all right. I don't like rating teams like this, but I'll do it anyway. Hertz, Damian Pierce, Pacheco, Jamal Williams, Eli Mitchell, Deuce Algier. You got JJ Olave. All right, so you got really great receivers here. You got mediocre running backs in the grand scheme of things. So I'll rate it a Fatali Pepper on the Scoville scale. If you don't know how a Fatali Pepper rates on the Scoville scale, well, you're just going to have to go Google it and find out. But I'll give you a Fatali Pepper on that. Buster Johnson traded Kenneth Walker for Jalen Waddle. I love that. I think Jalen Waddle is going to be, a dynamic receiver. I mean, listen, I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Tua stays healthy this whole year. Even though I'm a Jets fan, I do worry about how strong Miami's going to be, and we saw that last year with Tua. But I do think that even if Tua goes down, I think Mike White is a strong enough quarterback to run this offense. This offense, very similar to what we see in San Francisco, right? And let's face it, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, running that offense beautifully. Can Mike White do that in Miami? Yes, he can. So I think Waddle's going to be fantastic. And you always have to worry about Kenneth Walker with the fact that Zach Charbonnet is there. And will Zach Charbonnet get some work? They'll probably have, him serving as a complimentary back. And if he does take off or Kenneth Walker gets hurt or anything like that, it's a tough situation. So I like Jalen Waddle here. Paul Parsons says, tonight's game and injury concern factors. PPR need a wide receiver and a flex. Kadarius Toney, Jerry Jeudy, Christian Watson, Van Jefferson, and Brian Robinson. Give me Kadarius Toney, especially if Travis Kelce is out. That'll be an even better play. And then I'm going to take Brian Robinson. I'll probably go with that route there. Now I'll say this: if Kelce is out, then definitely use Toney. If Kelce plays, if he suits up at all, then I would probably pivot off of Toney and go to Van Jefferson, especially with Cooper Kupp obviously out. So, I would probably go with Toney if Kelce's out, Van Jefferson if Kelce is in, Brian Robinson in the flex. Kamara's my starter, short bench, and had too much wine during the job. And you know better than that. You know better than to drink and draft. We've gone through this before. But I admire it. I love the fact Ann goes through so many different drafts, has so many leagues. I love all the questions that we get every Sunday because you can always tell which drafts she was drinking during and which draft she was like laser focused and just right on the money there.
Drunk. I'm drunk.
Give her a follow on Twitter if you want, @Rowdy357. She is a fun gal. Jack Senden says, thanks, Howard. And Britt Wilson is my second QB too. Well, who doesn't love that? Wilson. Blurpy says, trying to whip up a trade to get Chubb and Darren Waller. The guy I'm potentially trading with likes Jerry Jeudy, so I was offering Connor, Higbee, and Jeudy for Chubb and Waller. I can also offer Watson instead. Listen, I would try to do this. If you can give Connor, Higbee, and Jeudy and get back Chubb and Darren Waller, I would do that in a heartbeat. An absolute heartbeat. I don't think it's a vetoable trade. I don't think any trade should be vetoed. I think if two owners agree on a deal, then boom, you agree on a deal. If somebody's going to give you, if they're going to piss and moan about it and, whatever, if you want to include, Watson instead of Judy because he's just coming back, although Watson's banged up too. Yeah, I would make the offer, Blurpy, and see what happens. Rod Elliott wants to know, would I go Sky Moore or Cortland Sutton? Rod, I thought you knew me. Come on, Rod. We talk on Facebook Messenger almost every day, don't we? All the time. We go through all of this. You know I'm in on Cortland Sutton. I will always go yum, yum, yum on Cortland Sutton. Sky Moore is going to be one of those interchangeable receiving cogs in the machine that is the Chiefs offense. Kadarius Toney's going to be there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling's going to be there. Rashee Rice is there. You've got Justin Ross who's going to be there. If it's not Kelsey, it's Noah Gray out there. There's just so many things going on here that take that laser focus on the X receiver in a Joe Lombardi offense and give yourself some Cortland Sutton. Jamie Frazier, fancy meeting you here, Ann. I think Frazier is your married name, isn't it, Jamie? So fancy seeing you here too. Blurpy says Lisa Ann's her favorite content creator. Okay. Jack Senzen says FFPC Fantasy Pro, Goff tonight or Daniel Jones Sunday night. It's kind of a tough one here. I think I would lean Goff only because I think the matchup for Daniel Jones against Dallas a lot tougher. I was asked the question of Anthony Richardson versus Daniel Jones, and I said Daniel Jones for that, even though it was a tougher matchup against Dallas, because I don't know what to expect out of Anthony Richardson. I don't think anybody knows what to expect out of Anthony Richardson, but I do think that we know what we're expecting from Jared Goff. I think we know the type of player that he is. In my first guillotine league, 1 QB, who are my top 3 QBs? I mean, depends on what your strategy is here. I mean, you can go in so many different ways with the quarterbacks. If I'm sitting there in a guillotine league, I'm probably paying down at QB. I'm not really that worried. I kind of, you know what it is? I've found this year what I've been doing in a lot of my leagues is that I'm not the first to take a quarterback off the board. So I don't have, I have one share of Mahomes, and I did that because I took Kelsey in the first round and Mahomes in the second round. So I have one share of Mahomes, but I have no Hurts and I have no Josh Allen. If I feel that I've got a really, really strong group of running backs and receivers, I'll end up with either Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence. I've got a lot of Trevor Lawrence this year. And if that's the case, then if not, then I'll pay all the way down to like Daniel Jones or even Aaron Rodgers. That's kind of where I'm living right now. I don't think, I think, for a guillotine league, I think because it's, because QB, there's not all that big of a separation between I would say even the third QB versus the ninth QB. I don't think that there's really, that huge of a drop off. So kind of laying low on that. What will be Monday morning's headline news from NFL Sunday action? It'll be Bender was right. Cortland Sutton is the man. That's what it's going to say on Monday morning. Listen, I think what we're going to end up seeing on Monday morning, I mean, we've got a hot takes article that comes out every Sunday night. And I think Coop and I are going to be, kind of going back and forth on that, on that piece. We also had a preseason hot takes piece from Britt Flynn that you can find on the website. I'm not going to predict anything because that somebody's going to get hurt. That somebody's going to get, you're going to get some rando receiver who's going to go off. Something weird's going to happen. And all of a sudden, everybody's going to be blowing their entire fab budget on Puka Nacua. Like that's what we're going to end up seeing, something like that happen. So I'm not going to predict which player is going to get banged up and, decimate everybody's fantasy team. But we all know something like that happens. There's definitely going to be a first or second round pick that is going to massively disappoint people this weekend. It's just par for the course. It's the way it goes. Nathan W needs 2 here. I'm going to assume that's Deontay Johnson, Tyler Lockett, or DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm going to take Hopkins and Lockett in this one here. I think Hopkins and Lockett are going to be the good solid efforts here. The Rams secondary, I don't believe in. I think Seattle's going to have their way with them. I think Geno Smith's going to have some fun throwing the ball. And like I was saying earlier, Marshawn Lattimore is not the guy that he once used to be. And I don't even know if he's going to shadow DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm gonna give it up for a little DeAndre. There. Let's see. We going Sam Laporta or Noah Gray? Waterbed says we're going Sam Laporta. I just can't. I'm not going to invest in Noah Gray. Kelsey in, Kelsey out. It's just I'm not going to do it. Noah Gray's a guy that you want to drop into a showdown lineup here for DFS. Which, if you go over to fantasyalarm.com, full showdown write up from Dan Malin. Some great stuff in there for sure. Jets' best thing to happen to the NFC North in 15 years. We've done it twice now, right? How does it end up that Brett Favre goes to the Jets, and Rodgers goes to the Jets? We're happy to help out there. Happy to help. Jamie says she's excited that football's back. Yeah, me too. Do we like Cousins or Goff better at QB this week? I'm probably going to go with Kirk Cousins here. Listen, the weaponry is absolutely fantastic. Tampa Bay, I'm not in on their defense. I know Todd Bowles is a defensive-minded coach here, but when you're talking about Hawkinson, Jefferson, Addison, Osborne, I just think there's so many great weapons for Kirk Cousins that I kind of want to jump on board with him. I know that Goff's got some decent ones also, but yeah, I will. I'm going to take Kirk Cousins. Sky Moore or Rachaad White? Ooh, that's a tough one here. But I'll lean Sky Moore. Do I start Madison or DJ Moore in my flex half-point PPR? Ooh, that's actually a pretty good one there. Dang. That's a tight one. That's definitely a tight one. I'm going to go with Madison here. It's half-point PPR. As much as I like DJ Moore, I do kind of, have a little bit of worry that, Jair Alexander is going to be out there. On the other side is Russell Douglas. So, good solid corners there for Green Bay. And I think that, we got to see how this passing attack develops for Chicago before I fully invest in them over there. Brian Robinson or Michael Thomas? I'll take Brian Robinson. Is Anthony Richardson going to finish as a top 15 QB this week? I got to be honest with you. You don't really have to do much to finish out as a top 15 QB, in the NFL. And he's got that rushing upside. So, Jacksonville's a tough D, but I think that they've got a good pass rush, which will chase Anthony Richardson around. I do think that he can finish this week as a top 15 QB. I love Laporta today, but Noah Gray with no Kelsey from Waterbed. Again, so many interchangeable cogs. And just because you throw it 20 times to Kelsey does not mean that you're going to throw it 20 times to his backup. It just doesn't work that way. So I'm still on Laporta there, Waterbed. Half-point PPR from Scampers, Javonte Williams, Jahan Dotson, Michael Pittman, or Gabe, I'm assuming Gabe Davis, maybe. Oh, yeah, Gabe at ya boys, my Jets. I like Jahan Dotson here. I really dig Javonte. I really do, but he's going to share the load with Pirine. They've already said that, they're going to kind of ease him back into it. I think Jahan Dotson's just a great deep threat. Going to be a fantastic target for Sam Howell. So I'm going to say Dotson. Tony or Sutton? I say Sutton. Ron Burgundy drop. There you go. A little shout out love for you there, Brian Burns.
Yeah, I love and respect Brian Burns.
My question from Scamper is, are you ready for some football? 100% ready for some football. That, by the way, was the voice of Frank Reich, who watches this show all the time and loves Brian Burns.
I have nothing but the highest regard for Brian Burns.
See? We're not even talking about the defensive end. We're talking about the producer of the show right here. Let's see. The Fratellis, like from the Goonies? Yes, exactly. We love the Fratellis from the Goonies. Patrick Mahomes tonight, over 17.5 rushing yards, seems like a lock. Does it, though? Does it? I mean, Tommy, I know you like that one. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Is that one going to be one of the ones on the Bettercast tonight? Again, if you're just joining us here, the Bettercast app, the brand new Bettercast app, and the contest that we run during the games starts tonight. Go to Bettercast app, bettercast.app, BETTORCAST.app. Download the app. It's free. And then watch the game alongside with us. You're going to get all of these fantastic, questions, over unders, who's going to score the next touchdown. You win tickets. And then with those tickets, you can win prizes. We have a ton of prizes. We got stuff, signed memorabilia from Fanatics. There's all sorts of great stuff. So download the free Bettercast app at bettercast.app. And then just get in the game with us. Watch tonight's game, Sunday night's game, Monday night's game. There's all sorts of loaded up. I mean, you'll watch those with me on the Bettercast app. As far as Sunday during the day, you know where I'm at. All right, I got less than 2 minutes to go here, apparently. So let's see if I can spring through this. Now, right after this show, I'm going to be on Alarm Fantasy Football with Britt Flynn and Andrew Cooper. So we're doing the same thing over there. Full on AMA, whatever you want to know. So if I don't get to your questions here, just stay right there on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. You obviously want to, pull off of this one here and then go to the main homepage for the Fantasy Alarm on YouTube, and then just jump right into our illustrious Alarm Fantasy Football. How do I like the team name? Young Hoes Hate Laporta Potty. Oh, Sellers, you're a goofball. Let's see. 100 messages, blah, blah, blah. And more conversation with Ann. Yesterday, I traded multiple 1s and 2 picks for the next 3 seasons for Kyle Pitts in Dynasty. What kind of Kyle Pitts value will there be in 2026? I don't know. It depends on who his QB is. I sure hope it's somebody better than Desmond Ridder. Yep. See, I knew it. Frazier is Jamie's married name. Great stuff here. Let's see. Brandon Garcia, Ayuk, Kirk, or Pirine. Give me Brandon Ayuk. Scary Terrier, Debo. Give me Debo. All right. I can't get to them all. I love you all. Join me on Alarm Fantasy Football. That's coming up next right here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. I'll catch you guys in a little bit, but I gotta run.